Good morning, Life Point Church. Let's stand and worship together.
Good morning, Life Point Church. Feel free to have a seat for me. I don't know about you, but I have been enjoying listening to Christmas music before the service starts during this month. Kim has been doing a wonderful job infusing a lot of the Christmas spirit as we get ready to celebrate in just a couple weeks, if you can believe it, 10 days until Christmas. And we just wanted to build that anticipation before each service with Christmas songs. That way, on Christmas when we celebrate together, we're ready to celebrate with tons of Christmas favorites and Christmas carols. So I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. My name is Lacey Ausfresser, and I am the group life director here. And we are just so happy that you decided to brave the weather and the roads today to join us. Whether or not it is in person or most of our friends joining us online today. We are just glad that you took a moment to be with us today to hear more about the God that loves you. If you are new or interested in learning more about who we are as a church, I'd love to invite you after our service to Life Point in 5, which is located in our lobby across from the coffee station. My friends Nina and Jackson will be there to answer any questions you might have about our church or how to get connected. Also, like I said, Christmas is in 10 days, and that either gives you more joy or a little anxiety depending on where you are in your Christmas shopping and making plans. But what we want to do is make sure we're giving you all the feels of hope and comfort and joy, as well as having you starting to think about who you're going to invite here to join you for Christmas service. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you. We have invitations all around the lobby for you to take to give personal invitations to the person that God's been laying on your heart. So feel free to pick them up in the lobby as well. I would also love to direct you to our website where you can find out all details about our services for Christmas. Each service will be the same. However, the details of each will be a little different depending on whether or not you need ASL interpretation or kids services, so those details will be a little different depending on the service you choose. So that's the reason why we want you to go to the website and RSVP so that you can be informed about what is available, as well as so we can be prepared to have enough parking spaces for you, seats here, and enough volunteers to make you feel comfy and cozy for the holiday season. Now, I think that is all my boxes I needed to check for the service for today to help you prepare for Christmas. So I'd love to invite you to stand now as we continue singing and praising the one who is in control of everything.
We're going to have some good worship this morning. I know you're brave, but cold and weather. This again. I want to dance like David. I want to faith like Paul. I want to sing like Silas, tearing down the prison wall. I want to face that fire. It won't burn me though. God's got my back, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. I want to walk like Moses, right through the waves. One day I'll see that promised land, no longer slaves. But the fear is talking. No, it can't take out my faith. Oh, I'm gonna praise. I'll praise the mountain moving, body raising, breaker of chains. Gonna praise, I'm gonna praise. I'll praise the heaven seated, undefeated, highest in name. That's who I praise. Hey, that's who I praise. That's who I praise. Like Mary, I want to break my veil. I want to sleep like Daniel, leaving in the lion's cave. I'm gonna get that promise, just like Jericho. Yeah, I know what'll make it fall. I'm gonna praise. I praise the mountain, moving, body raising, breaker of chains. Gonna praise. I'm gonna praise. I'll praise the heavens. Praise the God is proven he can only one who's worthy, worthy, worthy of all of his names. That's who I praise. He is the risen Messiah. He is the Ancient of Days. The only one who's worthy, worthy, worthy of all of his names. That's who I praise. I'm gonna praise. I'll praise the mountain, moving body, raising breaker of chains. Gonna praise. I'm gonna praise. I'll praise the head and seated undefeated, highest in names. That's who I praise. Hey, I'll praise the God who's proven he can do impossible things. That's who I praise. Hey, that's who I praise. That's who I praise. That's who I praise. That's who I praise. I love like Jesus, that kind of grace. Wanna live like I've got no more precious time to waste. Gonna give him glory with all my thanks, 'cause there's no greater, stronger, higher name, and that's who I praise.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. When everything around me shaken, I've never
I'm really grateful to see you this morning. I'm glad there's people in this room, that you got out and you came here. Thank you for braving the weather. And I'm also grateful for all of you who are watching online. It's wonderful that we have a place where we can gather online and continue to be together and worship and grow and learn. So thank you for all of you. I think there's many more of us joining online today. Hey, is there part of your life that feels a little bit less than perfect? Like some reality in your life, maybe it feels far less than perfect. There's something that you've experienced that you carry around with you, something that you're facing right now that is much less than ideal. Or maybe even a part of yourself that you wish were different. There's something in you, your personality or your character, or there's something about you that you wish were just different. Christmas time it's a unique time of year that holds special memories for all of us, and it helps every one of us look back and mark time and the passing of time and different events in life. It also reminds us about what life is like when God invaded this world and when he invades our own stories. But Christmas time is a part of all of our stories in one way or another. And I want to share one story, one special memory that I have of a Christmas time. When Megan and I were dating, before we were married, part of that time we lived in different states. Not the whole time, but some of that time we were in different states. And one particular Christmas, I had convinced her, or I had led her to believe and allowed her to believe without fully lying to her that I was not going to visit her during Christmas time. And she led me to believe that she was really disappointed about that too. But I had a plan all along to surprise her. I had bought an airline ticket, and I had a very big plan for how that visit would work out and what I was going to do and how I was going to surprise her. So I landed, and I had ordered lots of roses and written some cards, and then I got to her house and left one vase with roses and a card at the door, and I rang the doorbell, and then I came around to a side door that I could get into, and she answered the door, and she found these roses, and she was reading this card, and I had come in through the side door into the kitchen, and I remember her standing there in the entryway, puzzling over this card and holding the roses, when she looked up and she saw me, and she was not expecting to see me at all. And she shrieked. She let out this unusual sound I had never heard from her before, and she doubled over, and in her hair, she had rollers in her hair. Hot rollers, they're called. I don't even know what they are. And immediately she started ripping them out and throwing them. Just ripping out these rollers and throwing them and shrieking. And I didn't know what was going on there for a moment, but I felt really good about the surprise. She was definitely surprised when she saw me. It's one of my favorite Christmas memories. And then I had to plan for the whole day. We had dinner that night and drove through some Christmas lights, a big Christmas light display that was nearby. And then I presented my carefully prepared and planned speech asking her to marry me. And when she tells the story, she says, I forgot to get down on one knee. And that's not how I remember it, but there's no visual evidence. There's no evidence to look back on and know for sure. And she agreed to marry me. It was a surprising visit. I felt like all day she was just kind of stunned, which is probably why she said yes. She was just in a state of surprise, and what a day that was, and what a memory, where her expectations were reversed. What she was expecting to happen was very different than what ended up happening that day. And now I can see her with those rollers in her hair throwing them. It's a really special memory for me. Christmas time is the moment when God surprised the whole world and the people who are involved in that Christmas story. So I want to circle back to that question I asked you at the beginning, and I want to be a little more specific and pointed with you. Is there something in your life where you feel like maybe you're facing a challenge and you are insufficient to meet that need? There's some reality in your life, with your family, with somebody you care about, and you don't feel like you have enough to overcome that particular need. Is there something in your life where you're feeling some anxiety, maybe deep anxiety, maybe a need to control, or maybe a decision that you're facing, or a difficulty in a relationship or in some other part of your life, and you really don't have any answers. Or maybe in your heart, you've reached a moment of doubt where you're wondering, what is God up to? Like, this doesn't make any sense. This thing that I've experienced in my life that I'm still carrying with me, I don't know why it's there, and I don't know what to do with it, and it's hard for me to continue believing and to have faith in this particular moment. It could be questions about trusting or believing in Jesus or God at all. It might be questions about your own personal experience and where has God been in some of these experiences. Today, we're coming back to the Christmas story, and now this weekend and for our next 3 times together, we're going to explore some of the songs and prayer poems that people raised up to God during the first Christmas. Today, we're examining Mary's song of praise, her prayer to God, as she began to process the news that she had received from the angel and everything that she was about to be part of. Now, we're looking at Luke chapter 1, verses 46 to 55. And if you have a Bible with you or an app you can open up, whether you're here in the room, you're watching online, find your way to Luke chapter 1. You might want to reference some of the stories we talk about, because I want to set the stage before we read these verses together. The way that Luke gives us the narrative of Jesus' birth, he bounces back and forth between the events surrounding the birth of John, Jesus' cousin, and the birth of Jesus. And with bouncing back and forth between the stories, he's demonstrating how Jesus is greater than John, the forerunner of the Messiah, how he's greater than any who came before or who would come after. At the beginning of Luke 1, the angel Gabriel shows up in the temple where there's a priest who's serving. He's burning incense and leading the people in prayers to God. And this angel announces to this priest named Zechariah that he is going to have a son, that he and his wife Elizabeth will become parents after they've already passed the age of having children. And Zechariah is understandably confused, and he has a whole lot of doubt. He doesn't believe this message at first. Next week, we're going to examine his song after he moves toward faith. But this angel gives this message to Zechariah about him and about his wife Elizabeth. They're going to have a child. And then the angel leaves. And at some point, the angel then visits Mary in Nazareth, a little town in Galilee that nobody had ever paid any attention to or heard about. And here's Mary, a young woman, a teenage girl, who's receiving this news from an angel who says that you are going to be the one that God keeps all of his promises through. You're going to bring the Messiah, the promised one, into this world. And Mary's initial response, the scriptures say that she's disturbed and confused. And she asks, how can this be? How can this happen? I've never been with a man. How could I have a child? And the angel assures her that God's presence will overshadow her and that she's going to give birth to the Holy One, to the Son of God, that God's going to keep all of his promises through her. And Mary responds with a simple statement of faith that inspired a song much later, a more recent song. She says, let it be. Let it all be according to your word. Let all this happen to me. And the angel also told her, your cousin, Elizabeth, your older cousin, she's expecting a child too. The forerunner of your child, the messenger for the Messiah. And so a few days later, soon, Mary leaves her home in the north part of Israel in Galilee, and she travels south to the Judean hill country where her cousin Elizabeth lives with her husband Zechariah. And when she walks in the door and she says something, she speaks and greets Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth shrieks. If she had hot rollers, she would have thrown them because she was surprised that Mary was there. And when she heard Mary's voice, the baby that she was carrying leaped in her womb. She felt the baby jump, and Elizabeth responded with a prophetic word of praise to God about the child that Mary was carrying. The mother of my Lord, she called Mary. And then Mary, who had been processing all this news from the angel for several days, it took a while to travel from Galilee to Judea. When she heard this encouraging word and message from her cousin, she responded with a prayer song, with this hymn of praise to God. And that's where we're focusing our attention this morning. In Luke chapter 1, verse 46, I'm reading from the New Living Translation. Mary responded, "Oh, how my soul praises the Lord, how my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he took notice of his lowly servant girl, and from now on, all generations will call me blessed. For the Mighty One is holy, and he has done great things for me." This song, and the beginning of this song in particular, it's usually called the Magnificat, from the Latin translation of these verses that comes straight from the first line of the song. "Oh, how my soul praises the Lord," or "my soul magnifies, lifts up the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God my Savior." And Mary is not so much talking about the inner part, the unseen part of herself in this moment. She's really referring to her whole person, her entire being. She is lifting up to praise the Lord. And for Mary, this was very true because it wasn't just her soul and spirit, it was her whole body that she was offering to God because she was going to carry this Holy One. And immediately she focused on what God had done for her, but then she also shifts her perspective to think about what God is doing and has done for all people. Let's keep reading her song. He shows mercy from generation to generation to all who fear him. His mighty arm has done tremendous things. He's scattered the proud and haughty ones. He's brought down princes from their thrones and exalted the humble. He's filled the hungry with good things. He's sent the rich away with empty hands. He's helped his servant Israel. It's a beautiful parallel between his lowly servant girl that he took notice of and helping his servant Israel. And he remembered to be merciful, for he made this promise to our ancestors, to Abraham, and to his children forever. Mary's song of praise reveals a reversal of expectations. Everything that Mary had anticipated about her life had been upended and changed, but in this song, she echoes the Old Testament prophets and prayers and songs of God's people and her ancestors when she describes a reversal of expectations for everyone. It's the princes and those in power who are pulled down from their high places, and the humble and the lowly who are exalted. The ones who are coming with hands that are full, the rich, they're sent away empty. But those who are coming to God with empty hands, they walk away with their hands full. Mary's describing how God is reversing all the expectations that people have when they approach him in life. Mary's song and her life is reminding us and teaching us that God completes his perfect work through our imperfect realities and even through flawed people like you and me. God does and completes his promises and his plan, even when our life isn't perfect, even when parts of our story are different than we wish they were, even when parts of ourselves are not what we would hope that they would be. So while we talk together, I want you to hold out to God those parts of your life where you feel a lack and a need, or where you feel insufficient, or where you're feeling some anxiety, or where you're wishing that some reality or experience in your life were different from what it really is, or that you were different from the person that you are. I want you to hold that out to God, because today, from Mary's song of praise, I want to point out 5 different truths about how God interacts with us when he invades our life the way he invaded the world at this first Christmas. So first, Mary's song reminds us that God can only fill hands that are already empty. Now, this is a simple but a profound thought. You can't fill up hands that are already full. And in Mary's song, she praises the God who sends those who come to him with full hands already. He sends them away empty, but those who come to him with empty hands, he's filling them up with good things. That was Mary's experience with God. And Mary is giving us a pre-message for a message that her son Jesus would end up delivering. When Jesus delivers the famous Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, he begins with the bold statement that upends all of our expectations. Blessed are the poor in spirit, or blessed are those who need God and know it, because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There are some things that God can't do, even though he's all powerful, and God can't fill up hands that are already full. He only fills up hands that are empty. When my mind is full of distractions and worries and entertainment, how can there be room for God to fill my mind and your mind up with himself and with other thoughts? When our calendar becomes so jam-packed with activities, just one right after another. In this season, it's really difficult. It's really easy to do that. It's difficult to create some margin and space. But when our life becomes so busy and overwhelmed with activities and demands and expectations and appointments, then sometimes we schedule God right out of our lives. If we are the ones who are always satisfying and taking care of every need in our life, then how could we ever come to God with empty hands and ask him to fill them? Sometimes in life, God even helps us clear the decks and removes all those other distractions and removes those other things that fill up our mind and our heart, our inner life and our outer life and our schedule. Sometimes he does that by intervening, but it's much better for us if proactively we learn how we can empty out our hands, how we can give ourselves away so that we can come to God with hands that are empty and ask him to fill us up with good things so that there's less of me and there's more of him. Mary's song teaches us that and reminds us of that. And secondly, Mary's song reminds us that God can only strengthen people who are weak. He doesn't give strength to those who are already strong. He can only give strength to those who need it and to those who are coming to him in a position of weakness. Mary was representing her entire nation who were living at a point of extreme weakness because they were being dominated by the Roman Empire, by soldiers who lived in their land and who ordered them around. They were a possession. They were something that belonged to this empire from far away. And she and her family and all of her people, they very sharply felt that weakness. And they were looking for the mighty one to do something for them that they couldn't do on their own. And Jesus upended their expectations because he did not overthrow the Romans and establish a kingdom on earth. Instead, he came to set people free from bondage by offering forgiveness and a new life with God, where God indwells us and is connected with us in our everyday life and in every moment of life. Mary understood her weakness. Later on, the Apostle Paul would build on this teaching. He wrote to the Corinthians. He said, it's not often that God chooses the powerful or the wise or the capable and the resourceful, but God has chosen to confound and confuse the wise with the weaker things of this world. And Paul said, even in my own life, it isn't as much through my successes and moments of strength where I've discovered God's presence. Instead, it's been in my moments of weakness. I've carried around this thorn, and I begged God 3 different times. I said, God, please take it away. And finally, I heard God's message back to me, no, I'm not removing this from you because I need you to learn that my grace is enough for you. That it's in moments of weakness when you can really learn to depend on my strength. It's possible that that weak area of your life is an opportunity for you to learn to depend on God's grace and to discover that He is strong for you. Mary's song reminds us, it teaches us that God can only give strength to those who are already weak. And third, Mary's song teaches us that God exalts the humble. He pulls the princes down and He raises up the lowly ones. Mary was echoing messages from Isaiah and other prophets who predicted this is what God does. This is how He works. She called herself God's lowly servant girl and put herself in the position of the whole nation who was humbly waiting on God to lift them up. God doesn't exalt the ones who are obsessed with making a name for themselves and with establishing their fame. And instead, God lifts up the ones who are lowly. Now, I don't know how often you think about the Roman Empire, probably once or twice a day, at least. The emperor who was on the throne of Rome and who was the ruler of Mary's land and of Mary during this time was Caesar Augustus. Augustus, really the first Caesar, the heir to Julius Caesar, but the one who really established the Roman Empire. He was the one who was powerful. And on the throne at this time, everybody was paying attention to him. There were even people who were like following him around and writing down things that he did and things that he said. He was a very important person. And then after Augustus, his heir was Tiberius. During Mary's lifetime, Tiberius rose to become the emperor. And then after Tiberius, it was Caligula who ended up losing his mind, going mad. And then Claudius, these first 4 emperors. If we had a bust of each of these 4 emperors, I would imagine that very few of us would be able to identify who was who and put them in the correct order, right? I mean, if you know what they look like, they all look a lot alike. They've all got the Julius Caesar haircut. He set a trend, and it lasted a long time. These guys look a lot alike. It's hard to even tell them apart from artwork that we might see of them. What's your favorite quote from Augustus? Do you have like a favorite, like an inspiring, anybody? You've got like an inspiring message from Augustus or Tiberius. Tiberius, who was the emperor when Jesus died, or maybe Caligula or Claudius, something that they said. Anybody? If you saw a portrait of Mary, and really just about anybody in the world, if they see a portrait that someone has painted of Mary, she's instantly recognizable by almost anyone in this world, Christian or not. Nobody took a photograph of her, but we know from the artists who have painted her and reproduced her image, even among different cultures where she looks different, we still recognize her in artwork when she's in front of us. And yet very few of us would be able to like put in order the first 4 or 5 or the first 10 Roman emperors. Nobody is bursting to talk about their favorite quotation from Caesar Augustus. Like there's nobody on this earth gathering in large groups and small groups during this Christmas season to talk about that thing Augustus said when he made a decree. And yet people all over the world, and we today, are remembering Mary's words. When Mary was living her life, nobody paid attention to her. No one was noticing what this young peasant girl who lived in a backwater town of Nazareth in Galilee was up to. No one was inquiring about her inner thoughts or what she was going to do on any given day. And yet we know about particular days in her life, and we know some of her deepest, innermost thoughts, and we celebrate her words and find encouragement and meaning from them because God doesn't raise up the powerful. They don't need him to. God raises up and exalts the humble. James even picks up on this later on when he teaches us what it's like to have God on our side at all times, when he says that God resists the proud. He actively works against those who are proud and trying to make a name for themselves and expand their fame, but he gives more grace to the humble. He works on the side of those who are humble enough to depend upon him. Mary's song reminds us of that. And then fourth, Mary's song reminds us and teaches us that God can only restore what's in his hands, what he already holds, what we have trusted over to him. The beginning of Mary's song is absolutely beautiful. My soul magnifies the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior. He noticed his lowly servant girl, the mighty one, the one who can do anything, the one who's all powerful, is holy. He's different from me. He's not like me. He exists on a scale that I don't understand. And yet, he is intimately connected with me. He has done great things for me. And Mary lifted up her soul, but she was lifting up her whole being. And she held absolutely nothing back from God, because she even gave him her body. Lord, if this is what you want to do to fulfill your promise and bring your son through me, you can have me. You can have my body. Let it be according to your word. The mighty one who's greater than me, who's holy, who's different from me, he's connected with me. He knows what my life is like. He's seen me. And I'm going to give everything that I am over to him. That's not easy to do. That's hard to do. Because there are parts of life, there's parts of ourselves that we would rather keep and enjoy just for ourselves. And then some of us, there's parts of our life, parts of our experience, parts of ourselves that are extremely sensitive, that I don't want anybody else to mess with or touch or know about. I want to hold on to it because it kind of hurts. God, he can't heal anything that we hold back from his hands. He can't work through any part of our life or experience that we're unwilling to yield over to him. Mary gave her whole self. She held nothing back. God can only restore what he holds. And then fifth and finally, Mary's song teaches us and reminds us that God can only bring joy to those who believe, to those who are willing to believe him, to trust him, to believe in what he has said, in what he has promised, in what he has done, and in who he is. Mary's initial response when the angel Gabriel came to her, it wasn't this song that expresses faith. Her first response, she was disturbed and confused, and she asked, how can this be? That's a question you and I, we ask that from time to time. Sometimes we ask it when we believe God is calling us to something that we think is too much for us, that's too difficult, that's too challenging. Sometimes we ask it when we experience something we never wanted to experience. At times it's like Mary when this wonderful thing is happening and we feel like this is bigger than us and I don't know if I can handle that. But sometimes it's when we're sitting in a doctor's office and we receive information that has taken us totally by surprise. Sometimes it's when we get a phone call with news that nobody ever wants to hear. Sometimes it's in a conversation with somebody else when they reveal a surprise that we never saw coming, just knocks us flat. in those moments, God is still calling us to believe. It's hard to imagine the surprise, the confusion, and how disturbed Mary must have felt when the angel gave her this news. And yet she was able to move from being disturbed and confused to this point of faith where she said simply, "Let it be. Lord, I'm your servant. Let it all happen according to your word." And then she processed that news and opened up her heart with this beautiful song of faith that we're still learning from and finding encouragement in today. Mary believed, even when she was confused. And maybe you have some doubts, or maybe you're in a point of life where it's difficult to keep believing. God is still calling you to trust in him, maybe to trust in him for the first time. And now think about this. Because of Mary's faith, Jesus was introduced into this world. Because Mary believed and said, "Let it be," God was able to work through her in a unique way, do something he's never done before or since. There's someone in your life that needs to be introduced to Jesus. And through your faith in Jesus, you can open up that door, that pathway to introduce Jesus into their life and into their world. You can carry that message of the good news through the way that you live your life in a different way of following after Jesus. You can bring that good news message to them by sharing your journey of faith, or maybe even by inviting them to come with you next Sunday or next Tuesday or Wednesday to hear the good news message about Jesus' birth. Mary opened up a door of faith to the entire world because she believed. And God calls us to do the same thing, because Mary's song teaches us that we can always believe. Now, that Christmas memory of mine years ago with the hot rollers coming at me, that began a season of anticipation and waiting, because from then on until the following summer, the end of the following summer, I was waiting and anticipating the moment where those promises that we made, where they became reality. And Megan and I, we took our vows, we set our vows, and we accepted and received each other to be husband and wife and begin our life together. Mary, at the very end of her song, she referenced promises that had been made long before her. She said these promises were made to Abraham and to every generation. Abraham and Sarah lived about 2,000 years before Mary. And God came to them and promised that he was going to give them a land, a place to live, and descendants and many descendants, and that through one of their descendants, all people would be blessed. 2,000 years before Mary, Abraham and Sarah received that promise. And God gave that promise to their children and grandchildren, to Isaac, and then to Jacob. And Jacob passed it on to all of his boys, including Joseph. We finished talking about Joseph last weekend. And that message was passed on, that promise was given to each succeeding generation until about 1,000 years before Mary lived. God came to King David and said, "David, I'm expanding this promise that I gave to Abraham and to every generation. I'm going to give you a descendant who will establish your throne and become a king who reigns forever. His reign will never end. You will have a son, a descendant, who will be an eternal king." Now, 1,000 years after David, Mary is receiving this promise. She says, "You're fulfilling it through me." Now, it's been almost 2,000 years since Mary received this promise from the angel Gabriel, and since Jesus was born into our world, since he lived, since he died and rose from the dead, and we are still waiting. We're waiting for him to return. He's the king now overall, but he's not the king on earth. We're waiting for him to establish his kingdom immediately and in reality, to wipe away every tear and to make everything wrong right again. We are still waiting for that in our world and in our individual lives. So I want to give you a prayer that you can offer up this week and during the Christmas season that's taken directly from Mary's song of praise. I've been praying this past week, and I recommend it to you. My soul magnifies and praises and lifts up the Lord. So Lord, would you help me to empty myself so that I can be filled up with you. Would you make less of me in my life and more of you? Help me to rest in your strength when I'm weak, because maybe I'm in this moment of weakness so that I can learn how strong you are. Help me to trust your grace enough to be humble. I don't need to try to make myself famous or make a name for myself. I just need to humbly depend on you. And I don't want to hold anything back. I want you to have everything that I am, so that even in the moments that are difficult, I can trust you and I can believe. Lord, today I'm praising you and thanking you for this song from Mary that teaches us what it was like in this first Christmas time when you invaded our world, but also reminds us of what it's like in our individual stories and lives every time you invade our reality. So I'm asking for myself and for all of us during this season, would you help us to empty our hands so that you can fill them up? Would you help us to empty ourselves so that there's less of me and more of you? Would you bring us in those moments of weakness to depend upon your strength? Help us to humbly depend on you and on your love and on your plan, not to resist you, but to hold nothing back from your hands and from your sight, so that even in our difficult, disturbing, and confused moments, we don't doubt you. We still move to faith. Lord, I praise you. I thank you for Mary and for her faith, for her song, for her sacrifice. And I'm asking you to help us live the same kinds of lives, to experience the same reality of your presence this Christmas.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you deliver would soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you've kissed your little baby, you've kissed the face of God. Your baby boy was Lord of all creation. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would someday rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy
I've really enjoyed this Sunday morning. This is a different morning with the snow outside, and I appreciate every one of you who are here and all of you who are gathering and you worshiped online this morning too. This was kind of a special day because it's different and unique, and I hope that you received a unique message from God that's encouraging to you from Mary's song this morning. Next weekend, we'll examine Zechariah's response and his song of faith and how he was responding to the incredible things that God was doing for him. If you're trying to trust God in this particular moment of life and you'd like someone to pray for you, or maybe you're ready to cross that line of faith to believe in Jesus, then you can find a caring friend on either side of our worship center space as we dismiss and as our time here concludes. If you're new to Life Point Church, visit Life Point and 5 in the cafe on your way out. You can talk with a couple of our leaders, ask them any question that might be on your mind, and learn a little bit more about what God is doing here at Life Point Church. I want to thank you for your faithful and generous investment in the lives that God is changing through Life Point. Your giving is making a positive difference in people's lives every day, every week. And I'm really grateful for how you've been giving yourself and giving your money to support what God is doing here. Next week, I want to give you a little bit of an update on our year-end impact and our year-end giving for those special projects too. So I know that you'll want to hear that and be a part of it. Now, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and they won't faint. My soul magnifies the Lord because the Mighty One is holy and he has done great things for us. Amen. See y'all next weekend.